Doesn't sound like such until you realize that even small changes in the planet's temperature can cause really bad things to happen. For example, ice melting in our polar regions. If the ice melts, some coastal regions, like parts of Florida or New York City, could potentially be swallowed up by the oceans, displacing hundreds of millions of people.
Ha! Scary stuff. But luckily for all of us, we have researchers all over the world monitoring the Earth's atmosphere to try to figure out what's going on with it. Now, one of those scientists is Dr. James Hansen of NASA's Goddard Institute for Space Studies. A key objective for Dr. Hansen and his crew is the prediction of atmospheric and climate change in the 21st century. Now, I went to meet Dr. Hansen near his office here in New York City.
Dr. Hansen's office is located just above the famous Tom's Diner from the Seinfeld show, but I spoke with him on the campus of Columbia University.
Well, the big issue that has come up in the last several decades is the fact that humans have now become a big player in the Earth's long-term climate. You know, scientists had thought that the Earth is so large that it's very hard for humans to impact the natural system, but it has become very clear that humans are now having an effect. And primarily that's through the added gases that we've put into the atmosphere, especially by burning fossil fuels. That's oil, coal, and gas. And that releases carbon dioxide and other gases and small particles, and these affect the energy balance of the Earth. The gases trap infrared heat radiation so that it tends to make the planet warmer. The planet has to warm up enough to keep the amount of energy going out from the planet equal to that coming in. And the result has been a warming of about 1.5 degrees Fahrenheit in the last 100 years. And we can see that there's more warming in the pipeline. You know, 1.5 degrees doesn't sound like much compared to weather fluctuations, which are 10 degrees or even more. That's fairly small, but it's enough to begin to have some long-term effects.
So what is NASA's role in your research?
Well, it's natural that the home planet is a place that NASA has been looking at from space for a long time. For example, there's just a remarkable satellite that was launched a few years ago called GRACE. It's the gravity satellite. It measures the gravity field of the Earth with such a high precision that we can see the change in the mass of the Greenland ice sheet or the Antarctic ice sheet and other things. Well, what we see is that sea level is now going up at about 3.5 centimeters per decade, which is, you know, in a century would be about so much. That's more than a nuisance, but the danger is that it could get to be much larger than that. If we keep adding more and more greenhouse gases to the atmosphere,